Okay, I want to do a little bit of talking about rational exponents. We don't have, I think maybe you have two topics in ALEX that deal with rational exponents, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on them. I'm going to basically show you how to write and rewrite square or roots from roots to exponent form and from exponent form back to root form. So I'm going to use this page and then I'm going to just add a page, a blank page in just a second. But when we're talking about the roots, if you have, I'm going to write a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. The number on the bottom, if you have a fraction and I'm trying to convert it, that bottom number goes in the index. You've got your base in there, and then the top number would go on the outside of the root. And then you can work out most of these. For instance, square or 25 to the 1/2 power, that would be like saying square root of 25, and then we're going to raise that to the first power. All of these first ones are going to have ones on top. So the square root of 25 is 5. 5 to the first power is a 5. I didn't have to write that 2 in the index because remember, square roots are automatically 2s unless there's another number there. This 16, though, to the negative 1/4, that's going to be the 4th root of 16 to the negative 1 power. Now, looking back at the chart from the previous section, the 4th root of 16 would be a 2, and I'm going to take 2 to the negative 1. Now, you're going to need to remember exponent rules. On the next page of the workbook, there's a chart with exponent rules from elementary algebra that you may need to go over, but the gist of it is you can't leave a negative exponent for an answer. If you want to make it into positive, you need to move it to the denominator of a fraction. So that becomes 1/2 to the 1 or just 1/2. Now this next one's different because the negative's with the number. It's not with the exponent. So this one would be cube root of 27, negative 27 to the first power. Well, the cube root of negative 27 is going to be negative 3 to the first power is just going to end up being a negative 3. Now, not every time are you going to have a 1 in the numerator. So the next part shows you how to write those. I think it's just easier to see examples. When you have 256 to the 3/4 power, remember the bottom number goes in the pocket. It's your index. So I've got the 4th root of 256, and then I'm going to cube whatever that is. Well, looking back at that chart, the 4th root of 256 is going to be 4. When I cube it, I get 64. So that's my final answer. So let's do some of these on the bottom. You've got the 9 to the 3/2, so that's the square root of 9. And then we're going to cube it. Well, the square root of 9 is 3. And then when we cube it, we get 27. Okay, the one underneath it, you've got negative 27 to the 2/3, so that's going to be the cube root of negative 27 this time, and we're going to square it. Well, the cube root of negative 27 would be negative 3, and when we square a negative number, we end up with a positive number. I don't think you're going to have any decimals really, so I'm going to skip that decimal. I'm going to go down here to the 32 to the negative 2/5. That would be the 5th root of 32 to the negative 2 power. Well, the 5th root of 32 is going to be a 2 to the negative 2. And remember what I set up at the top, you can't leave your answer with a negative exponent. You take those to the denominator of a fraction, and then the exponent can become positive. If you move everything to the denominator, you have a 1 on top. So then that reduces to 1/4. Okay, so now I'm going to put in a blank page, and I'm going to go the other way. Blank page. Okay, so what if I gave you the 4th root of 8 to the 1 power? Well, you would write that as 8 to the 1/4. Or if I gave you the cube root of 28 squared, that would be 28 to the 2/3 power. So that's going back and forth between your roots to your rationals and your rationals back to your roots. And there's just 2 topics in this section, and I think that should cover it, but you can be sure to email me if you have questions.